this one?
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm excited to get back in there, avenge a couple losses I've been on here lately, and to fight in front of a crowd is always awesome. And training camp went really well. I'm happy, I'm healthy, and things are going well.
Yeah, you mentioned the losses. Well, when you think about kind of being on that streak you were on before the two defeats, kind of how have you been able to try to capture some of that magic that you had in the previous fights?
Yeah, how quickly that goes away, huh? And you get a couple losses, and everybody forgets about that streak. But I just had to keep putting my head down, keep working, getting back up, and getting after it. The Khalil Roundtree fight I thought was a robbery in my mind. I know a lot of people felt the same way. I think the UFC certainly felt the same way. Right after we were ranked the same, he wasn't ranked above me. I got a new contract after that fight, and they paid me as if I won, so I was very happy about that. The hiccup with Asmat, man, that guy was, you don't sleep on that guy. The guy's, undefeated, 13-0. Nobody's been able to solve that problem. He's got 9 knockouts. He's extremely fast, probably the fastest guy I've ever fought in my whole career, kickboxing and MMA. And the guy packs a punch. So he just had my number that night. When he dropped me in the first round, I was battling back the whole time. I was fighting from behind the whole time, and it was hard to catch up.
Yeah, do you feel like you're able, when you had like that type of challenge, that did help you level up a little bit, kind of taking those lessons learned in that fight against Asmat coming to the dog?
Yeah, absolutely. If anything, it just reminded me how resilient I am. I refuse to go away. And, when he hit me with that first shot, I remember the crowd, it seemed like everybody was just right on top of me. I went down, and I think I was up pretty quick, but I could see like the people in the background, they felt like they were all just trying to hold me down. And it was just one of those outer body experiences that is, you can't really explain unless you've been in that position. But again, I was very happy with how I battled back and how I finished that fight. And I'm going to take that momentum into this next fight with Kennedy.
What was the message from your coaches and, everyone around you after that fight, and kind of the message for this one, the theme for this one this weekend?
Yeah, it was just a bump in the road. It was kind of a crazy night with my coaches because we had three or four guys. Three guys. No, there was 4 of us on the card. Zach Cummings, Brandon Royval, Chris Gutierrez, and myself. So it was a busy night for Factory X, busy night for my coaches, and just up and down roller coaster emotions in the back with the guys. So, it's one of those things. You just take your losses like a man and pick yourself up and move on. And we've done that. We got right back into the gym. We got right back in camp. And Kennedy had a great performance in his last outing. And I called for the fight. I wanted that fight. I figured he'd be surging into the top 15. I told my manager, let's get that fight, and we got it. So I got what I wanted. I'm happy.
Yeah, he came into the UFC, pretty green with just 6 professional fights before he got to the UFC. And now this will be his 10th UFC fight. Kind of what do you make of him as a fighter and kind of his evolution of his game as he's grown in the octagon, quite literally?
Yeah, he's definitely grown up in the UFC, and the evolution's been great. He's a guy that I watched early on that I thought, was just kind of hit or miss. Went in there, didn't really have a game plan, kind of a slow starter. And he's really evolved. He's done really well. He's on a 3-fight winning streak with some impressive finishes. And he's a guy you can never count out. I think he fights to the level of his opponent, and he doesn't really set the tone. I think I do a good job of setting the pace, which I think is going to be the upper hand in this fight. And you got to be careful with him, though, because as you turn up, he turns up. And he's a guy that's down but never out. Very worthy opponent, man. I like him. He's a good dude. We've been around each other multiple times between fights and cornering other guys. So I'm excited for this matchup. It'll be a good fight for the fans.
So you said you called for this one, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So when you're kind of looking at the options that is at light heavyweight, it's kind of a crazy division right now. So kind of what about him stuck out maybe versus some other guys?
Well, the thing is, I wanted guys like Volkan Ozdemir. I love that fight. I was calling out Ryan Spann. I love that fight. Those guys are ahead of me. They're booked. When I had the setback with Roundtree, I knew it was going to be tough to get somebody in front of me because those guys in the top 10 don't want to give up their spot. They don't want to fight somebody outside the top 10. Rightfully so. I get it. And then when you have 2 skids, back-to-back losses, it's like now they're certainly not going to find me. I'm not worthy of a top 10 opponent. So I was looking at the next best option. Kennedy was on a 3-fight winning streak, impressive finishes, and I knew that he'd be knocking on the top 15, and there I was to defend it. So I figured that was a good matchup.
Awesome, thanks.
You had said that he's, a bit of a slow starter in the past, and he kind of, turns it up when his opponent turns it up. So is there any part of you that just kind of wants to stick on the outside and just pick him apart all night and fight a strategic fight? Or is there a side of you that knows, you know what, I'm going to be in for a long night with this guy no matter what if I try to get him out of there?
Well, I definitely want to go at him. I want to set the pace early. I think I'm at my best when I'm very violent, when I'm very aggressive, and when I go for the finish. I tell the guys all the time, guys worry about getting tired in there. Or, when I fought the Contender Series fight against Ty Flores 3 years ago, almost to the day, I didn't think about a decision win. I thought I was going to kill him. I thought I was going to knock him out. There's no way we were going to decision. And when you don't think about getting tired, you don't think about decision, you just go for the finish, you lay it all out there, you damage your opponent, and then B, you just don't think about that. You're going for the kill the whole time. So I think that's what I'm going to be doing in this fight.
And what do you think about, you both come off of the Contender Series, right? So what do you think about the Contender Series as a whole? Because it's coming back next week, I think. And, Jamal is the first champion coming off Contender Series. And I think O'Malley's going to be having a chance as well against Aljamain. So what do you think about the talent pool that's come off of the Contender Series?
Yeah, I think it's awesome, man. The Contender Series is a great show. It brings new talent into the UFC, and it's guys that are trying to prove something. Guys that couldn't get the call in, couldn't get accepted right away, had to earn their way in, and I think they're fighting for something to prove.
Do you think this one goes the distance?
I don't think so, man. I tell you what, I'm going to go in there, and I'm really going to look for the finish from the start of the bell. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to be aggressive, and I'm going to look to put it on him quick.
And then as far as the state of the division right now, obviously Jamal's out. They don't have a champion. Who do you think should fight for the belt next?
Well, I think it's going to be Pereira and Jiri. Once he comes back. I don't know his timeline, but Pereira, man, timing's everything. I'm really happy for that guy because he's invested so much into combat sports, and he's finally getting the recognition and the paydays that he deserves. He's one of the best strikers in the world. Certainly a threat, everywhere. He's done really well in MMA so far in his short time. And, he went in there and beat Jan, and I think he deserves a title shot. He was the middleweight champ. Beat a former champion and at the top of the division. And it's wide open, man. So many guys are injured or, have had setbacks or coming back. So, that's what makes it so unfortunate about the two setbacks that I had was because I was right there, man. And now we just got to keep working to get back up there. Sorry, guys. I just got done working out, too, so I'm super hot. Yeah, would you? I was just pouring sweat. Thank you, man. But yeah, man, I think Pereira has probably put himself in a really good position. And do you guys know the timeline on Jiri when he's supposed to be back?
I don't think they've given it
yet.
Okay. Kennedy had said earlier that he isn't looking for this fight to go the distance, and he's expecting a finish for himself. What would be your response to that?
Good luck, man. It's two guys that are unwilling to go away, and that's what I love about this fight game. And again, after my last performance, that's what I proved to myself. I'm very resilient, and I'm tough to put away. I don't just crumble easy. It's going to take a lot to put me away, so best of luck to him. I'm going to be coming with everything that I have and defending that top spot.
And is there anything you're looking to exploit, maybe in his game plan or his weaknesses or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to my kickboxing roots, and I'm going to really try to chop him down. I think he's very vulnerable to the leg kicks, and I think I'm going to start there.
And I'm sure you're aware of this, but the last time you lost 2 in a row, you followed that up by having 9 fights and not being defeated in any of them. I think one of them was a draw and the other 8 were wins. Is that what's on the cusp after Saturday?
I hope so, man. That's what I work for. That's what I always envision. I believe in myself. I believe in my team. I'm extremely confident, even coming off the back-to-back losses. I'm very confident in what I bring to the table, and I'm really looking forward to this opportunity. Again, I called for this fight, so it's on me to deliver.
Appreciate it.
I got one more. Over here. Yeah, I got one more. Now with Pereira being back at 205, I know you guys fought in Glory back in the day. Did you ever think that there was a possibility that you might fight him again one day? Because he was at 85, but now with him being at 205, is that one you want to run back eventually?
Well, I've been asked that question before, and I certainly want to avenge every loss I've had. What's cool is Prairie actually reached out to me before this camp to see if we wanted to train together, get prepared. And I told him, man, I'd love to, but, I fought the week after him. He fought last week, and I didn't want to change anything up in my camp. I didn't want to, go to unfamiliar territories. I just wanted to be comfortable in what I do. Well, I feel like my program works for me, and I didn't want to leave that. So there's a chance that, we link up and train together. But anytime that I'm put in the same sentence with Prayer about possibly fighting, that means I'm doing something right because he's at the top. He was a middleweight champion, and now he's coming for the light heavyweight title. So to be put in the same sentence as him and a thought of fighting him, of course, I'd love to avenge that loss, and I think that would be awesome if that ever came to fruition because that means I'm doing something right.
So do you think that you could possibly be brought in as like a training partner for his next fight?
Potentially. I mean, I think it would be good for both of us. I think it'd be a good look for me. It'd be good publicity for both of us. And, I never want to get to the point where I'm just, trying to help somebody else get to the next step. But it'd also be helping me, too. He's one of the best strikers in the world and one of the best competitors in the world. And I think it'd be great for both of us. And, yeah, if there was ever an opportunity for us to meet up, like I said, that means we're doing something right.
Sweet.
Thank you, guys.